All right, so grabbing my first coffee this morning, West Coast time. It's 6:49 a.m., March 21st, and my feed is just like exploding.
Wow.
Yeah, this Facebook post drops and it feels big, like seriously big for what's going on in Bangladesh right now.
It's interesting how something like Facebook, we think of it for like birthday updates and cat videos, but then it's right at the heart of like these massive political stories unfolding.
Totally. And the guy who posted this, Hasnat Abdullah, he's not just some random dude. He's like the head organizer Southside for the National Citizen Party, the NCP.
Right.
But even before that, he was a student activist, got a reputation as a real firebrand, rabble-rouser, whatever you want to call it. He was like deeply involved in those huge protests back in August that, well, took down the Awami League government.
That whole August uprising, it's important to remember, it wasn't just like out of nowhere. There was so much public anger building up already. And the anti-discrimination students movement, that was kind of the spark.
Yeah.
It started focused on those job quotas, but it became about way more than that, like this huge wave of people just fed up with the government.
Absolutely. So now, fast forward to just 10 days ago, March 11th, Hasnat says he's summoned, along with two other people, to this secret meeting. And where's it at? Dhaka Cantonment.
Dhaka cantonment, seriously.
That's what he says. And that's not just any place, right? It's like the most secure military zone. When you hear Dhaka Cantonment, you know some heavy stuff's going down.
It's like immediately makes you think, who has the power to call a meeting like that? And what are they trying to pull off?
Right. So what's the alleged agenda at this hush-hush meeting? Get this, bringing back the Awami League.
The Awami League. But they were just like ousted.
I know, the same party, the one whose leader, Sheikh Hasina, she's currently in India, by the way.
Well, I mean, India and the Awami League, they have that long history, super tight alliance going back decades.
True, but hold on, it gets weirder. They're not talking about just like a straight-up Awami League comeback. They're pitching a refined Awami League.
Refined.
Yeah, like, I don't know, Awami League 2.0, like they're rebranding after a PR nightmare.
It's almost funny, but in a dark kind of way, you know?
Totally, like someone online was joking, Awami League, now with 50% less corruption.
Ouch. But, I mean, it shows that they get it, right? There's all this negativity, public anger that led to their downfall. They got to try to change their image somehow.
Right, and who are the faces of this refined version, supposedly? Saber Hussain Chowdhury, he used to be an MP. Then there's Shirin Sharmin Chowdhury, she was the parliament speaker. And Faisal Noor Taposh, ex-mayor of Dhaka South.
So they're picking some pretty familiar faces, figures people already know from the Bangladeshi political scene.
Exactly. It's like their version of putting together a super team, but instead of fighting bad guys, they got to convince people to trust them again after everything that went down.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, though, how much baggage those individuals carry, right? Can they really represent a clean break from the past?
Good point. So Hasnat says he's in this meeting, right, with those two other people. We still don't know who they are, which just adds to the mystery.
Uh-huh.
And they're offered this deal, support the refined Awami League, and in return, they get guaranteed seats in the next election. Straight up political horse training, it sounds like.
That kind of thing, it happens all the time in politics, right? Offering power, a piece of the pie, it's how you build alliances, even if it's more about convenience than shared beliefs.
And there's more. They're told other opposition parties are already on board with this whole plan. And the thinking is, apparently, a weaker Awami League, maybe with India pulling some strings, is better than a strong, independent opposition. They even use the analogy of a buffet variety is better than one big dish dominating everything.
So the opposition is like divided, right? Maybe so worried about one group getting too powerful that they're willing to make deals with the supposed enemy.
And get this, the refined Awami League strategy, it gets even crazier. Hasnat claims they're going to start admitting to all the Sheikh family's wrongdoings, like public apologies, distancing themselves from the recent past, starting around April or May. But at the same time, they want to play up the legacy of Bangabandhu, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, Sheikh Hasina's dad, the founding father.
So it's like damage control, but also trying to tap into this deep, positive feeling people have for Bangabandhu.
Right, like they're trying to rewrite history, Awami League, the prequel before everything went wrong.
Clever. I got to give him that, but will it work?
Well, you can guess how Hasnet reacted to all this. He and his group, they walked away. They're not buying this repackaged Awami League. They want accountability, the real deal for what went down under Sheikh Hasina. They say after August 5th, the Awami League shouldn't even exist anymore. Full stop, ban them.
That's a strong stance, but it shows just how deep the anger runs, right? For them, it's not just about politics, it's about justice, a complete break from a past they see as corrupt and harmful.
And we got to remember what fueled all this. The anti-discrimination students movement, it started with those concerns about job quotas, but then July last year, the government cracks down hard. Violence, people dying, it was brutal. And that's what ultimately pushed Sheikh Hasina out on August 5th.
Yeah, those events, the trauma, the loss, it's all still very raw for so many people. It's no wonder they're reacting so strongly to even the idea of the Awami League coming back.
And that reaction is on full display right now. Hasnat's post goes up Thursday night, and by Friday morning, students at Dhaka University are marching. They're not just questioning what Hasnat's saying, they're straight up demanding a ban on the Awami League. No ifs, ands, or buts.
That's fast. It shows how volatile things are, how much anti-Awami League sentiment is already simmering there, ready to boil over.
Adding fuel to the fire is Dr. Muhammad Yunus, the guy leading the interim government. He's a Nobel Prize winner, respected worldwide, but now he's facing heat. He told the International Crisis Group they're not planning to ban the Awami League, though they might prosecute some of their leaders.
So he's acknowledging the need for some kind of accountability, but not going as far as the students want.
Not even close. And they're not happy about it. Then we got Dr. Shafiqur Rahman. He heads up Jamaat-e-Islami. They've had their own complicated history with the Awami League. Got banned under Sheikh Hasina, actually.
Right, right.
But now he's backing Hasnat's call, saying the public won't tolerate any comeback for the Awami League. So you got these unlikely allies forming student activists and this major political party united against a common enemy.
It's interesting how crises can make strange bedfellows, right? Putting aside their differences because they see a bigger threat.
And that takes us back to the heart of Hasnat's claim. This refined Awami League is all India's doing. He points to Sheikh Hasina being in India, their close ties, as evidence. It's a big accusation, saying a foreign power is meddling in Bangladesh's business.
When things are this tense, these kinds of accusations are bound to fly around, right? It plays into existing anxieties about who's really pulling the strings, especially with a history like Bangladesh and India have.
For sure. But we got to be careful. We don't have hard proof of India orchestrating all this. Is it some super secret strategy we're not seeing, or is it more about trying to discredit the Awami League, score political points?
Tough to say without more information. It could be Hasnat's interpretation, connecting dots based on what he knows, but it's also possible there's more to the story.
And let's be real, this whole refined Awami League thing, if you're trying to regain trust, is that really the way to do it? Bringing back familiar faces, even if they're competent, is it enough after all that's happened? It feels a bit like putting lipstick on a pig, if you ask me.
It depends on whether people see it as genuine change or just window dressing, right? A new coat of paint can't hide deep cracks.
Hasnat's definitely drawing a line in the sand. He's basically saying letting the Awami League back in any form, it's betraying what people fought for last year. It's going against the whole movement for real change.
He was a key figure in that movement, so it's understandable he feels so strongly about it. He sees this as a direct threat to everything they achieved.
And those feelings, they're clearly shared by a lot of people. Those protests at Dhaka University, they're still going strong. Students are angry about this alleged conspiracy, but they're also angry at Dr. Yunus for even hinting at the Awami League having a future role. The scars from last summer run deep.
It shows how much healing still needs to happen and how deeply people crave accountability. They see Yunus's stance as a betrayal, like he's not listening to their demands for a clean break from the past.
You got to feel for Dr. Yunus, though, right? He's got this incredibly tough job leading an interim government in this, pressure cooker of a situation. He's promising elections, saying they'll go after those responsible for what went wrong, but it's not enough for those who want the Awami League gone for good. It's a tightrope walk, for sure.
It's what happens in transitions like this, right? Trying to balance stability and justice, moving forward while addressing the wrongs of the past. It's not easy, and every decision has consequences.
And we can't forget about the odd couple we got here, the student movement and Jamaat-e-Islami finding common ground in their opposition to the Awami League's return. Shows you how unpredictable politics can be, how quickly alliances can shift when there's a perceived threat.
Sometimes the enemy of your enemy becomes your friend, even if temporarily, right? It's all about priorities, what you see as the bigger danger.
So here we are, right? Hasnat's bombshell Facebook post, this alleged meeting in a top-secret military zone, students in the streets, and a political landscape that's, well, even more scrambled than usual. But we're still waiting for official responses. India's staying quiet, the Awami League too.
That silence is telling, isn't it? Could be they're trying to avoid making things worse, or maybe they're just waiting to see how things play out before they show their hand.
You know, Bangladesh politics, it's always been a bit of a circus, right? Lots of different acts, unexpected twists and turns.
For sure.
And Hasnat, he just tossed a lit torch into the middle of the ring. Will it cause a huge fire or will it fizzle out? We don't know yet, but it's definitely got everyone watching.
It's a powerful image, and an apt one, I think. This situation has injected a whole new level of uncertainty into Bangladeshi politics, and the consequences could be huge.
So let's think about what this all means for the everyday people in Dhaka across Bangladesh. It's their future that's at stake, right? They're caught between this party, the Awami League, with its long history, its role in the liberation struggle, but also its recent controversies, the allegations of corruption, the violence.
Yeah, for the average person, it's personal, it's emotional. How do you reconcile the past with the present, the good with the bad?
India's role is the big question mark, but right now it's just speculation. We need more than just claims. And Dr. Yunus, he's got this balancing act to pull off, trying to steer the country towards elections while people are demanding justice, demanding change. And those students, they're not backing down, they're making their voices heard loud and clear.
It's a reminder that in times of transition, things are messy, unpredictable, there are so many forces at play, and the outcome is never certain.
So, as we wrap up, think about this. Can you really rebrand a political entity with such a loaded history, both good and bad? Can these new alliances we're seeing actually reshape the political landscape? And what does this whole situation tell us about power, about memory, about how a nation grapples with its past as it tries to build a future? It's a lot to unpack, and it's a story that's far from over.
Absolutely. We'll be watching closely to see what happens next.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll be back soon to, well, try to make sense of whatever craziness comes next.
You know it.
Take care, everyone.
See you later.